Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Brough Guitars Review. Like I talked about last time, I did get something here recently from Christmas on behalf of my family and my girlfriends.
Yeah, boy.
So I have been trying to just scratch the surface of this. And maybe you guys are very well aware there's tons of information out there on it, but I still feel like it's not really being talked about enough. So again, right here is going to be the ToneX pedal from IK Multimedia. Essentially what this is really just a pedal, but it's so much more than that because of the software that happens to come with it. But the idea behind the pedal is it uses AI along with, imprints and presets and all these things of like your favorite amp heads, your favorite cabinet combinations, anything from like Sunset Sound to Soldanos, to triple rectifiers, to Dumbles, to your Fender Tweed from Eric Clapton, Eddie Van Halen, to Zakk Wylde. It got literally, the possibilities are endless with this pedal. But with that, I do feel like there's a little bit of skepticism when it comes to the pedal because it also has a gigantic learning curve and it seems very daunting, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's very complicated depending on what you want to do with it. So what I really want to kind of deep dive into is really split this into 4 different parts because it's going to be a lot of information for you guys. But again, I want to break it down to where it's easily digestible because it will kind of seem like a lot, but at the same time, it's not. Hence why I'm going to break it down. But the whole reason why I got this pedal was honestly because of a gentleman by the name of Jim Gaustad. If I said that correctly, Jim Gaustad. Now, Jim is I'm assuming he's a Van Halen fan. I don't really know the guy. I know Rob Johnson's actually about to have him on a featured episode here soon, which I think is hilarious because every time I have an idea about something or I come across somebody, it seems like it's always on someone else's channel and they're hearing me talk about it. So that's going to be a really cool video. Make sure you check that out on behalf of Rob. Let him know that I sent you. I got this pedal because of coming across, other YouTube videos where people were talking about specifically the Brough sound patches or presets that you are able to get within this pedal and or software. So Jim Gaustad actually did some like amp capturing of his rigs where basically he used essentially the same things that Eddie Van Halen had used to come up with these preset sounds. He's got the different Brough sounds as presets, and you can get the 78, 79. It's anything from, I think it's 8081 or 8182, pretty much all the way up to 1984. It's really mind-boggling as far as what you are capable of getting within this because they sound really, really, really good. And you can actually get a smaller version of the ToneX pedal that actually already has some of those presets built within. So this might allow you to skip some steps. If you're here specifically for the Eddie Van Halen stuff, you can actually get the little mini pedals, and that might actually completely suit your needs there. So I think when it comes to the ToneX pedal, the thing that's going to be a lot more digestible to think of is if you think of this as 3 different things due to the software. So you have specifically the ToneX pedal, which you can upload presets to, you can change presets, you can alter them, and then use it either in a live setting or you could also use it in a studio setting. As again, if we break this down into 3 different things, you're going to have the ToneX pedal itself, then you're going to have the ToneX software, and then you're also going to have the Amplitude software, and then an additional thing that we'll touch on in part 4. But you really just want to think about this as pedal, ToneX, Amplitude. Think of them as 3 separate things, but also the same thing. Kind of like the Holy Trinity, where you have the Holy Spirit, the Father, and the Son. Picking up what I'm putting down. Now again, this pedal seems to have endless capabilities. Think of the pedal too as like in 2 different forms. You can have it in what's called live mode, which is where basically you can take the pedal, you can take your preset, and you can go play that through your pedal board into an amp. If you had it like on a clean setting, you wanted to use this as kind of like a distortion pedal, or you liked a different clean version amp cabinet combo on here, you could go direct out to a PA system. You could do all of this through the live mode. Or what you could do, which is kind of more along to what I'm trying to do, is the interface mode. Essentially what it is it really opens up the possibilities of what this pedal is capable of doing and how much time you're going to devote to it, because you're going to get lost in the amount of stuff that you can do within this pedal. It's crazy and mind-blowing, and I cannot wait to deep dive on this more. In essence, what I'm specifically using this for, because again, there's so much information out there where you guys can actually deep dive and figure out what is the best setup for you and how those people achieved it. But literally all I'm using it for is pretty much interface mode, because I have my giant rig, which is right over here. And what I was really looking for as far as this pedal is more of like a studio setup, to be able to have endless possibilities at my fingertips, to be able to switch out amps, switch out cabinets, and have all of these different tones without having to go buy a bunch more gear or change a cable or anything. It's all right here at my fingertips. So the idea behind it was, obviously I really liked the Van Halen stuff, and that was the main purpose of why I got it. But when I got my hands officially on the pedal, it really just kind of opened my mind to a lot more stuff, and I am very pleasantly surprised. Now obviously it's not all sunshines and rainbows with this thing. There are some things that I don't like about it, but we will actually touch on that in a later part as far as pros and cons. So make sure that you guys stay in tune for the rest of these videos as they come out, because one in particular might cover something that you really want to see or hear. But for my setup, all I'm doing, the whole concept behind my idea of the method to my madness, was to take guitar into my mini pedal board that I have here on the floor, take it from my mini pedal board, go into the ToneX, put it in interface mode, then from the ToneX into my Mac, and then out from the ToneX into my two studio monitors. Now, this setup does work. It works absolutely 100%, kind of like from the little piece of music that you had heard earlier. That is my setup, and exactly how you hear it is exactly how it's being recorded into the computer. The setup's actually more simple than what it may look or may not look. With this, there are going to be some things that obviously you may see that you may need, that you may not already have, so it might be some things to consider. Now, are you going to need the studio monitors necessarily? No, you could probably run it through your headphones or maybe through the speaker of your computer, but again, you're not going to get the full audio experience of it because it's only coming from one source as opposed to multiple. And also the speakers are just better quality in these. And these studio speakers here are the CRXBT, which were only like $100, so nothing that special. Again, it was just to be able to get the full sound as opposed to just through my headphone or maybe just through the built-in mic on the Mac. Other things that you might need are obviously going to be, your cables. Are you going to need just a normal instrument cable, or are you going to need a TRS cable? The instrument cables is really all that I have. I'm not using any TRS stuff. Now, the TRS cable just basically means that it has extra protection within the cable to be able to get like less interference within the signal. But again, depending on your setup or what your budget is, you may not need anything more elaborate than that. It's really just up to you. I do have my Focusrite interface here, but I actually didn't even need it because of the simple fact that I have it going through the ToneX, which I'm using as my interface. So the bare bones, you need a computer, you need the ToneX, and really that's it, but I would suggest getting the monitors. So again, guys, what I'm going to specifically talk about is just really from this point on is just the use that I have, because again, you can use the ToneX as essentially like an amp head or amp and cabinet combo and run this through a clean amplifier, or you can run it through the FR speaker where it's essentially like a PA speaker where it's not going to have any other circuits or any other things crazy in it, and you're just going to get purely the signal and the tone from everything you have within the pedal. But obviously in the live mode, you do have some drawbacks to it because you're not going to have just endless possibilities, because you're going to need the internet as far as interface mode, or if you're trying to make changes to presets or go mad scientist and change everything. So I just want to let you know that you will need the internet in order to do any of this. So I think that's pretty much a given for most people nowadays, but maybe you can't afford internet, you don't have access to it, and in which case, don't waste your time. Do not bother getting this pedal. But you will need internet to be able to run the software and to be able to make changes to the presets. Unless you just want it stock, then you can get the pedal and just plug in, and you can just go from the presets from there. And you can actually make changes within the pedal with the knobs, but to be honest, I wouldn't suggest that. It's very confusing, at least for me. I like simplistic things. I like point A to point B. I like things to just work and go. So for me, this just seemed very, daunting at first, but I would like to give a huge shout out to my buddy Brian, also known as Coffee Drinker. Please go check out his channel. He does great stuff over there, especially when it comes to painting. If you want to ever paint any of your own guitars, he really walks you through it, and a lot of his suggestions, and like a lot of how-to DIY stuff. And his channel is great, and he has like a great radio voice, so he's just very easy to listen to. It's very captivating almost in a way. I don't know how he does it. But with Brian's help, Brian was actually able to kind of walk me through really the bare essentials and the bare knuckles of the pedal, which really kind of just allowed me to just set aside the stress and how overwhelming and the learning curve that I thought this was going to be. But really, he pointed me in a lot of really good directions, and like I said, I cannot wait to get to certain parts of this series, because it's going to blow your mind what you can do. And like I said, there are pros and cons with this, and we will touch on that on a later part. But until then, guys, please just make sure you stay tuned. Please stick around. Brough Guitars Review. Until next time, guys, do whatever it is you do. I'm excited. I can't wait. Peace out. I'm out of here.